Hi, and welcome to Chats with Chelsea. Thank you for joining today. When I think about movements that are happening across the country, one of the people I think about is my hairstylist, who's a licensed curl activist, colorist too. I think about Mind Your Own Womb. So, Chats with Chelsea community, join me in welcoming the creator of Mind Your Own Womb, Carmen Davis.
Hi everyone, how are you?
Carmen, let's jump into it. And you have on one of your sweatshirts. I can't wait to be rocking mine and letting the world know to mind your own womb, aka mind your own business. Don't be okay. But before I start on my rant, tell us how Mind Your Own Room was birthed.
I live with fibroids. They're not as bad as they are now because I have them under control and I've been monitoring them and just trying to adjust my lifestyle to them. However, I'm a hairstylist, as Chelsea mentioned, and with me being a hairstylist, I listen to women vent all day. And I kept saying, hey, there's something else that I need to be doing with my life, but I couldn't figure out what it was. But once I started sharing my fibroid journey and like letting people know, that I ended up having surgery, what I did afterwards, the changes I was doing, exercises I may have been doing, and just all of the big lifestyle changes I made, all of my clients then in return began to share with me their personal stories. And some of the stories were of miscarriage, PCOS, endometriosis, IVF, stillbirths, people judging them because they may have four, five, six children, and some of the comments that they were receiving, my own dating experience and having, people ask me, was there something wrong with me, and why am I this year's old, and you don't have any children, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. All of a sudden, I just started. This thing just kept coming to me and kept coming to me, and I couldn't get that monkey off my back. So I was like, okay, I know that I'm supposed to be doing something else. I don't really know what it is, but I'm gonna wear this shirt to New York when I go because I used to go to New York every month to do hair. So I went to the mall. I got a shirt made. My John Womb on it. I bought a shirt from H&M and I wore it to my friend's birthday dinner. So I had the shirt on from like 6, and then we ended up gallivanting and dancing around the city. And maybe I had it on till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And we counted. I know I had over like 200 people comment. Because New York is one of those places where they'll let you know like if that's amazing or if they'll just pass you by. So yeah, and it was like everyone. It was like all different races. It was men. There was women. Like they wanted to like high five me and tell me, oh, I love your shirt. Or people were like sharing their stories with me. So I was like, okay, clearly this resonates with everyone. This isn't just something that I'm feeling. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to create a space that discusses all reasons why people should mind their own womb. If it's someone is currently healing their womb, if it is someone just lost a child, if it is that someone doesn't want any children, if it is that someone's going through a journey to get pregnant and life is just in the way, it's different, or she just can't. It's just so many different reasons as to why it's never okay to walk up to your favorite cousin and be like, hey, cousin, why you and your husband don't have any kids yet? It's just never okay. So yeah, that's how it started, and we are now a year and a half old. So yeah.
Yay, almost the 2-year anniversary. Well, I must say, I'm so grateful for your brand because in the past year is when I received my diagnosis for adenomyosis, which is the rare and aggressive form of endometriosis, which significantly decreases um, from a medical perspective, my opportunity to become pregnant and to carry my baby to full term. If I was to get pregnant, most people who have this end up, even in their 20s having hysterectomies. Yet I'm grateful that we found a course of medication with which is birth control, and then it's also the reason why I went one of the reasons why I went vegan. So I just say thank you because I remember seeing your brand like a year ago, and I didn't have that diagnosis then. And so it was like, it's a little annoying, but now it just hits home knowing that it's going to be a miracle. Just because of this. So tell us, what has been the response over the past year and a half to your brand?
It's been really interesting. So, for the most part, of course, I have like this huge community of people reaching out to me, bearing their souls in the DMs, emails, text messages, just even in the salon, just telling me things, sharing their stories, which I think is so beautiful that people feel comfortable enough to do that with me. But then there's this like smaller community where I've received like backlash, of course, because which is weird too, because it's like older white men or that'll go on my Facebook and say crazy things like, oh, it's probably because you had so many abortions, or can you do this and can you do that now sexually? Like it's really interesting the response from that, and they're older. Like it's weird. And then I also get like a lot of black men that find humor in it, and I don't know why that's funny. The only time I get like a really responsive um insight from black men are if they know someone that's currently dealing with it, maybe their friend, sister, wife, girlfriend, mom, something like that. And then they'll I get plenty of men to purchase if it's for them, and like they'll tag me when they wear it. Like, yeah, my mother had 9 miscarriages, and I'm her only living child. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, it's so weird. It's like either you're aware or you're not aware, and when they're not aware, it's that weird you've twisted it and made it something else. Because I think a lot of people, they get my movement from me being like feminist, and I'm not 100% a feminist because I believe like 100% of feminism erases the male from the situation, and that's not what I'm trying to do.
I think that's important, in the conversation. I know, because as a wife, I definitely don't want to erase my husband, but I am grateful that he accepts me as, an independent woman. He know who he married, and so I like the way you put that. Tell us, Carmen, where do you hope to see Mind Your Own Womb in 5 years?
Okay, in 5 years, I hope to see Mind Your Own Womb hosting and or just having a plethora of programs where young children, like whenever they're getting educated on sex ed, there is some type of program there to allow them to know certain jargon and terms. So when their body is going through these different changes, so when you first get your cycle and you're having all of these pains and like knowing like that's not normal. That is something that should be detected and having a more thorough conversation other than you missing out on school. I want it to be an international movement where everyone knows like if you need resources in a safe haven, you can definitely turn to the MYOW, aka Mind Your Own Womb movement.
I love it, and I'm so excited about it. I am looking forward to seeing your growth, continuing to be a client, a supporter, because it is a message that is needed. I think that it's a message of truth, of healing, of wisdom. I sometimes I think back to my journey with my gynecological issues, and 10 years, over 10 years of being able to get to a diagnosis with multiple diagnoses. Um, but thank God that I now know about Mind Your Own Womb, and I can wear my shirt so that people will mind theirs if they have one, or at least not be all up in mine. So, Carmen, how can folks purchase Mind Your Own Womb merchandise?
Okay, so everyone, if you're interested, you can go to mindyourownwomb.com, and you can shop there. And you can also follow the movement on all social media platforms at mindyourownwomb.com. I mean, mind your
Chats
own.
with Chats with Chelsea community, I hope that you learned a lot from today's conversation. From Carmen's journey, from a little bit of my journey. Listen, mind your own womb. And most importantly, we want you to be educated. We want you to know that there are things that are going on deeper than what you can see with many of the women walking around you. So just have some class and some grace and mind your own womb. We look forward to seeing you next time on Chats with Chelsea.